Today's Thursday, it's the 6th of July 2023, and we've come down to Palma. We're on the Paseo Maritimo on the front now, and we're just going to have a little evening walk here. The sun is about to go down. It's a little bit breezy, which means it's quite cool. Not sure what the effect of the sound is on that, but we'll have a look. We would normally walk well, sort of to the road behind us, but that's where all the construction work is, and well, it's okay on the seaside, but on the roadside it isn't very pleasant. I'll tell you a bit more about that as we walk on. So just where we are, where we're standing, there's a car park behind us, which is where we've managed to park. It's a free car park. Not normally free, but while they're doing the construction work, they've made it into a free car park. And we've got some of the tour boats here, so you can get one of these boats and you can have a little tour around the harbour or a little bit further afield. In the distance, we've got one of the cruise ships in. That's one of the Costa ships. Moving around, the orange vessel over there's like a lifeboat. One that caught our eyes just as we came on was this one, which is dated 1841 from Ibiza, and as we've just come from Ibiza, it looks really quite interesting. And if it is really 1841, if that's the age of it, it's jolly old too. It's the Rafael Verdera, Ibiza 1841. It's also where the party boats come and go from, and there's the old port. This. Just noticed as we were driving along that Jeff Bezos's boat, the Koru, is back in port. It's in the Club de Mar. I wonder if that's going to be its home port as such, which would mean we will be seeing a lot more of the multi-billionaire, really wide catamaran that is. These are boats that take you out on little trips, which I keep saying we're going to do, we don't really get round to it. We delayed going out this evening just because it was so warm. Anita was saying it's about 34 degrees outside, and that's really quite hot, and we're actually in the sun at the moment. Hopefully we'll get out of that as we walk into the shadows. But coming along the Paseo Maritimo, we can see all of the construction work, and we might actually see some of it here because it's not finished even at this part. And that's still set to go on for some time yet. In the papers this week it was saying that they're going to start within the next few days or weeks to, they refer to it as paving, but I think they probably mean they're going to put the tarmac down, asphalt the road, and well, I suppose there will be some paving to go. What they're going to do on this side I'm not so sure, and even that work isn't, they're going to do it little by little, they said, and that was more or less a quote. And so it's going to take until Easter to do that, but they have done some really major construction work here, putting in new sewer pipes and cabling pipes, so it has been a major piece of work. What I thought was absolutely astounding though is that as they are, I don't know, halfway, a quarter of the way through this work, someone then suggests, oh, why don't we put underground car parks in at the same time? And the people in charge of it said, have you gone mad? We've already put all of this stuff in. You want us to tear it all up and start again and put an underground car park in? And what sort of disruption do you think that's going to cause, and how long do you think it's going to take? And the quote for the underground car park was going to be as much as, more or less, the work that they're doing on the Paseo Maritimo. So where's the money going to come from anyway? So you do wonder where some of these people with these wonderful ideas get them from. So at the moment we've got 4 lanes of traffic here, 2 in each direction. And then on the other side, where the shops and the bars, the restaurants, the offices, there is no road open, and there's just a narrow path for people to walk along. Absolute disaster for the businesses along there. And lots of hotels, of course, along there. Nice hotels, expensive hotels. People have asked me about where to go, where should they stay in Palma. And I'm not sure I can really recommend somebody staying at, for example, the Hotel Palma Belvedere, which is the one in front of us here. Nice hotel, and under normal circumstances would be a perfect place, but you come out of their revolving door and you end up in a building site. And if you're in one of the rooms up above there, how are you going to be affected by the noise or the dust? We were
people on the balconies here, mirrored.
Yeah. Well, we were at the Melia Victoria doing the ITV slot a couple of weeks ago with Gok One. Did you hear that was name dropping? That was just name dropped. Gok One, not Doc One. Gok One. Anyway, and that is on the Paseo Maritimo, a bit further back. And we were on the terrace over there, and you wouldn't have actually known there was any work going on. And if you entered the hotel from the road behind, you wouldn't actually know anything about all of this. So, I don't know. I wonder if they're offering special rates. As if you're actually just looking out over here, and you're looking at the boats, and you're looking at the promenade, and it's 8 o'clock in the evening. There's no work going on. You can't hear any work. There's no dust. It's just, if you wanted to go for a drink, or us, for example, the Madras Indian restaurant over the way there, it is quite difficult to get to.
You can't park anywhere, there's a car park.
Parking's an issue.
There's a car park here.
There is a car park, yeah. But the parking is an issue because there's limited spaces. So we lost a lot of parking spaces. And so the Madras restaurant, Indian restaurant there, I would imagine is really suffering.
Maybe doing more takeaways.
Well, certainly during lockdown, it was one of the restaurants we actually used a few times for takeaways. We got some delivery company, Just Eat or Deliveroo or whatever they're called, would come along and they would deliver the food to us. So maybe they are doing that. I do feel sorry for them. Next to that is the Hotel Costa Azul, and well, there's people sitting out on the balconies.
Not as nice as our view in Ibiza, was it?
I don't know, you sit on that balcony and you're looking out over this.
Yeah.
I think that's a lovely view, and you're going to hear the sort of port noises, aren't you? The ropes clanking against the mast and bells and things ring, you know. It's now we are actually walking in the shade. Just while I'm thinking of other pieces of news, sort of subtly slipping into the newspapers and not getting very much publicity, it seems that the end of COVID restrictions, whatever ones were left, are being removed now. The main one that was nationally in force was the one about wearing face masks in certain situations. Pretty much if you went to see a doctor or a dentist, or you went into a pharmacy, or you went to the hospital and you were required to put a mask on. That's very, very loosely observed here recently, and certainly we've been to the pharmacy, the chemist, and we've not been to having masks on at all. I went for a blood test yesterday, was it?
You did, yes.
So
You
we
have
have
to wear
a,
a mask.
so as I got to the door, you queue up at 8 o'clock in the morning to have your extraction of blood, and there's a whole group of people, so there's probably about 10 of us waiting to have the blood test done. And the first three were three elderly gentlemen,
Older than you.
older than me even, yeah. And none of them had got masks. And the guy on the door, when he opened the door, wouldn't let them in. And they were quite argumentative about it. The older gentleman, that is. Eventually, he did let them in, took them to the desk, and gave them a mask each to put on. So we, as the patients, all had masks on, and we went into the clinic to have our extractions, queue up and get your test tubes and all of that sort of thing. And then walks our doctor without a mask. The only person in the building who hadn't got a mask on was the doctor. At that point, I hadn't actually read that they were changing the rule, and don't actually know what date it's effective from, whether it's already passed or whether it's sometime in the future. But certainly masks are on the way out. I think they said there were some specialised situations where they might still be required, so masks more or less done away with. The other thing that was COVID related was the smoking on terraces ban, which most of Spain did away with a long time ago. But Valencia, the communities of Valencia, I will be careful, we're going across the stepping stones here, and we have to do this very carefully, one at a time. So, yeah, I'm not worried about the GoPro, I'm worried about me missing a step. Not exactly the most even, some of them are a bit well worn. Just keep your eyes on where you're going. I'm not watching fish, I'm watching where I'm walking. A lot of fish were there?
There were lots of fish there.
Oh, very good. So there's the Can Blanc, and they've got a nice big terrace, look. So Valencia and the Baleares kept the rule that there was no smoking on terraces. So smokers had to stand up, walk out of the terrace, and they could actually stand virtually next to their seat in some cases, but they weren't actually allowed to sit down and smoke on the terrace while having a coffee or a beer or whatever they wanted to. Well, that rule apparently is now gone, and smokers, I suppose, are delighted, and non-smokers like myself are not delighted. I really don't like sitting close to people who are smoking. So I don't really want to be in a bar or in a restaurant eating, drinking, and having somebody blowing smoke in my face. So we'll see, and I've read a lot of comments with people of a similar mind to myself. So we'll see what happens, and some were suggesting that some bar owners should retain the rule, so no smoking on the terraces. It'll, I don't know, it's a really difficult one, because if it's a legal thing you can do, then I suppose the owner can say no, but is he going to lose a client because of that? Or if he allows the client to sit down, are two clients going to leave because that one client is smoking? And I know certainly in the past, when smoking used to be allowed inside bars, we would leave because there was just too much smoke. If you're in the middle of your meal, really do that. Just looking over the other side of the road, the work on the Paseo Maritimo continues, the big pipes are out there, and so still loads to do. So this is projected to go on for some time yet, and We'll keep posting videos to show. We get to this end, we get to the smaller boats. And we get to the very end. There's an area where the boats get refitted. And you get some really big boats sometimes taken out of the water. Shouldn't have too many in at the moment though. They should all be out bobbing around on the high seas with their owners, enjoying the summer. Just on the hillside over there, you've got the three remains of windmills, which really do catch your eye as you're going along. Below that used to be a very famous discotheque nightclub many years ago. Not sure what's up there now, or whether it's still open, or whether there's anything going on up there. And we're just heading now at the moment in the direction of the cathedral. I don't think we're going to get that far.
Find somewhere to have a drink.
Yeah, we'll go along and we'll do an about turn eventually. It's like a third of the windmills is looking in really poor state of repair. Looks as though it needs a bit of TLC before something falls on somebody's head. Notice these scooters, how they just whiz by really quickly. There are rules and laws and about speed, about wearing helmets, about all sorts of things. I'm not sure how rigidly they're adhered to or enforced. These are the old typical Spanish fishing boats, day out boats. These are the yauts. Boat that go around and clean up the harbour. It's got its filters on the front there, nets to take out all the floating debris. So right over there we've got the boat yards where they'll do all the repairs, the refits, spraying, painting. Actually put the whole boat inside a tent, plastic tent, while they're respraying these so they don't get dust on them and they're not affected by the wind. Here lots of ducks. I don't know if there are. I usually see quite a few around here. Not today though. negotiating cyclists here. They whiz along as well. And on these cycle paths they do have the right of way, and we're not allowed to walk on there. These are all orange trees. Oranges on them. So at the moment, this part of the Paseo Maritimo, there is actually no work, and so it's more or less normal from here going on towards the cathedral. If we look in the other direction, that's where the work is all based. So we're going to try and cross over, see what we can see on the other side. It's a busy old road, this. The park in front of us called Safashina. Used to be a skaters sort of park, skateboarders park. There's a big monument right in the middle, which is disputed as whether it should actually be there or not. The road that goes up here to the right is Avenida Argentina. And that actually will take you up to the old part of Palma, take you towards Jaime Tres. The Hotel Saratoga, somebody told me they've booked the Hotel Saratoga for their winter holiday. Come in January, February, and Hotel Saratoga usually open all the year round. And means you're right in the middle of Palma, right where the action is. And the area just to in front of us this way is Santa Catalina. Santa Catalina, lots of bars and restaurants there. It's become one of the in places to be with the yachties, and because it's very close to the front. Fancy walking up at the top? Shall we walk at the bottom? Okay, so we can now walk along and see what it's like down here. I'm not sure it's going to be very impressive. They've protected some of the trees by putting plastic tubing around them. Just while all the work that's going on the other side. And it's kept quite clean. What I was suggesting to Anita, that we could actually walk. There is a path that goes along the top there, but it's quite high up. This will give us a closer view of what's actually going on. Just over there, have a look. You can see it's all quite major sort of construction work. We are in the shade, so it's not too hot.
Nice view of Belvedere Castle.
Yeah, Belvedere Castle.
We'll sit there next week.
Yeah, all right, yes. So Belvedere Castle on the top of the hill there. If you haven't been, it's well worth a look, because you can have great views all over Palma. And during the summer months, so sort of July in particular, and into August, they have concerts. So we're going to one next week by the Baleares Symphony Orchestra. Can't remember what they're doing.
Beethoven's 7th.
Beethoven's 7th. Oh, I like that one. Well, I like all the Beethoven's symphonies are all very good, but the Beethoven's 7th has got a particular
It's from a film, isn't it?
part of the movement, one movement which is from the film Zardoz, which was a bit of a cult film, and we were students.
Sale for Christmas time, like you don't actually.
Starring Sean Connery. So, I'm actually surprised how many people are using this path, which is hidden behind the screen. I suppose we're away from the traffic. It's actually quieter here. But you can see, here's the restaurant, which would normally have loads of tables out here and be busy. They've shut down, they've given up, and I don't blame them. And just hopefully they will survive all of this.
Won't they get some
And come out at the end.
compensation?
I don't know, I've looked to see if they're being given any compensation. I'd be surprised if they're not, but I just haven't actually seen it. A few steps you can go up there. Another flat area, but it's a little bit tatty. There are some seats up there as well. A statue. Quite an impressive statue there, in a place you wouldn't expect it. I'm sure we have. But it's interesting. You can see how it's constructed, how they've used cheap stone in the middle and then dressed it with the more expensive stone on the outside. Unfortunately, the more expensive stone isn't actually very good either, and so it's all worn away. The statue itself, though, is in good condition, I think. At least from my eyesight, from here, it looks all right. And we're just heading towards the Hard Rock Cafe. Didn't Lara tell us she was going to stay at the Hard Rock Cafe Hotel?
Yeah.
So
The Hard Rock Hotel and
Hard Rock Hotel. I didn't even know they had hotels, but then I didn't even know
like Hotel Chocolate.
Hotel Chocolate existed, but there you go. Seems these businesses expand into different areas, and why shouldn't the Hard Rock Cafe go into a Hard Rock Hotel? Hard Rock Hotel isn't here, by the way. I don't know where the Hard Rock Hotels are, but our daughter's going somewhere else.
Nice like that, isn't it? New.
Pardon?
Looks quite nice here, except
Yeah. One of those places that's been hit. Emblematic, which is the coffee bar. It used to be cappuccino, I think, at one time. In fact, this is a place that had an explosion many years ago. Gas explosion many years ago. So this is another one that's just given up. It's just not worth opening. Who would want to sit and look at that? If you watch my video of Sondoretta and the Hotel Son Artemidams, that was just up there. That will take you to Andrea Doria, which takes you up to the Sondoretta, what used to be the main hospital on the island, now ready for redevelopment. They're about to knock the whole thing down. Just a quick look at what's going on over the fence. So when I was reading about this proposition about building an underground car park here, I think one of the people who was given the proposal said, don't they know that this is at sea level? If you're going to dig down, we're going to get seawater in there. We've got all sorts of issues.
They did it down at the port, didn't they?
And Puerto Portals, quite amazingly, does have an underground car park. And so does Port Adriano. But digging down here, you're almost certain to hit issues. Irish pub here. Oh no, Three Lions pub, sorry.
Hello, camera.
Hey, you'll be on YouTube tomorrow, be careful.
Oh, hey, you too.
It's an Irish bar that has stayed open. Everyone needs an Irish bar now and again. Properties. Apparently there is still a big boom in houses at the top end of the market. Maybe at the bottom end of the market they might still be struggling a little bit, but to the top end of the market, getting a lot of Northern Europeans interested in buying properties. So here we're talking about multi-million pound and euro apartments and houses.
I suppose it's different here when they're working in the day, isn't it, as well?
I think if we were walking along here in the day, there's bound to be dust, isn't there? Unless they keep spraying it. I know in some places where you have dust, they just spray it to keep the dust down. And of course the work here has actually had a positive effect on the value of the properties along here, because people can see that in 3 years' time, when all of this is finished and done, this is actually going to be really a beautiful place to walk. And the whole front along here is going to be more like a park than a normal promenade.
It's still going to have cars, aren't
There will still be some, there has to be some cars. The idea really is to reduce the number of cars. They want to have car parks out of town, bus people in.
Park and ride.
Do the park and ride. We've found issues with the public transport, which we have free, of course. But just to go to simple places, like I wanted to go to the post office to pick up a package, and to actually get there is really quite a tricky jaunt. Going a lot further than you would really normally need to go, and you end up having to catch at least 2 buses and taking a very long time. So people are just going to nip in the car and drive down, aren't they? It makes life a lot easier. Especially when it's so hot and you're standing out in the sun 20 minutes waiting for a bus. That would really annoy me. I actually did do that the other day. When I did the St Armadam's walk, I did actually catch 2 buses. And Anita went in with her friend Yvonne to Palma. They did a bit of a walk around Palma, did some shopping. I did my video, collected my things from the post office, caught a bus thinking I might be able to meet Anita in Palma, but she'd already caught the bus. So I got off the bus. It's in the car park, by the way. I got off the bus, crossed the road and waited for Anita's bus to come by. I got on it, on the same bus.
A shock or a surprise?
I thought that was really quite clever of me. This is the Hotel Belvedere, Palma Belvedere. Very notable because of its stainless steel.
So sorry for these people, don't we?
See. It's not summer without beer. A little one, €3. A pint, €4. A little beer, €3. There's a lot of pint for €4.
Me levanto, me voy.
Is that the frozen yogurt?
Mira, yo no había dicho. Cariño, las matemáticas tú no.
So it's interesting that the frozen yogurt actually now sells beer. Frozen yogurt now sells beer. That's good.
Frozen beer.
Well, I'm sure it'll be in a nice cold glass. Lots of little shops along the frontier, and they've actually chosen to stay open. I suppose they've still got to pay the rents, still got to pay their overheads. OK shop here has decided to temporarily close. OK, one of the biggest rent-a-car and all sorts of businesses now that they're into. Really grown since we've been on the island, from nothing to a major company. Oh, smell of Indian. Oh, I had an Indian yesterday. Oh, darling, no.
You had one yesterday.
I did. I had a lovely Indian yesterday at the lads' lunch. This is Taste of India.
You get compensation? You get money for this work?
We do a menu del dia.
Compensation? Yeah, you get paid for like if you
Different versions. $13.95, $14.95. Different ones you can have. Well, this is Anita's drink of the moment.
I think I'll have one of these now.
Aperol Spritz.
Hola, ¿cómo están?
Yeah.
This one, isn't it?
So there. Oh, just let me come out here. Here we've got the auditorium in front. This is where all the big shows are. This is where the orchestra performs. It's where Anita used to have the Bay Entertainers, the local theatrical group. So it's a place we know very well. And this particular square pizzeria, we used to come with John and Barbara before a show or before a ballet. And the bar here, the Tropic, was always a place where we'd have a drink. And again, another one that's decided to close.
Should we have one here?
Want a drink here? Well, we've stopped off for a drink. I've got my usual shandy. Anita's on a new drink now. She's got accustomed to these Aperol spritzers.
Really nice.
It's very colourful. Really nice though. We stopped off. We're given some crisps, some olives. So that's like a little tapper, I suppose. Very nice. So cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers. Nice and cold. Well, we've had a lovely drink there at the bar, and we've now got to go over the debris. Yeah, he's just not looking forward to this. He's got a flip-flops on, and well, it's like we're walking over the building site. Does say it's provisional.
Provisional for how long?
Just asking Anita, how on earth do you get to the auditorium for a show? There's the auditorium.
Must be a way in.
Unless they haven't got any shows on now, maybe they made sure there's no shows on. Usually when we go to shows, ladies and the gentlemen are all dressed in their fineries. They should be walking through a building site. Oh, we're actually back to the car now, so we're going to cross over here. There doesn't seem to be any easy way to get to the...
No, you can't get there.
Stopped. Not stopping. We can cross.
Only 8,900 today.
We're not home yet. I'll drop you at the bottom of the road.
The boatyard's gone, hasn't it?
Yeah. Used to be the bar restaurant now, used to be the boatyard. There we go. Public, and it's free, and so we don't have to pay.
I'm sure one day they'll use that again.
Well, yes, when they decide that the work's finished. I was surprised actually that we did manage to find a space on here though. So we did. And we're now going to go home. So thanks very much for watching our little walk along the Paseo Maritimo. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.